Good morning. Thank you for tuning into the channel. Eric Bernaccio here, and I'm bringing you the tip of the day, which is through our daily reading through Alcoholics Anonymous Daily Reflection Book. Today's date is June 6, 2020, and the topic is All We Do Is Try. Can he now take them all, every one? In doing this, step 6, it helped me a lot to remember that I am striving for spiritual progress. Some of my character defects may be with me for the rest of my life, but most of them have toned down or been eliminated. All that step 6 asks me is to become willing to name my defects, claim them as my own, and be willing to discard the ones that I can, just for today. As I grow in the program, many of these defects become more objectionable to me than previously, and therefore I need to repeat step 6 so that I can become happier with myself and maintain my serenity. The key part of this message is try. We have to put in the effort. Trying to me is an action word that is hopefully followed through with completion or achievement. But we have to give it our all when we try. And it says here that the main focus of step 6 is spiritual progress. Like, we want to grow spiritually. We want to have a deeper relationship with God and be able to depend on a power source that is stronger than our own to help us be removed of these things, these iniquities, these bonding sins or character defects that are consuming us, that we can no longer say that we have control over. When we're able to admit that we have these problems and humble ourselves, then the growing process can start, because then it'll give us that the ability to recognize that we have issues and not be in denial. When we're in denial about stuff, we can't fix something if we don't think it's broken. So when we are no longer confused by what is going on, that we know that this behavior is unacceptable, that this should not be. And a lot of these things are justified by society today and by the world, and we are just so prone to think that certain things are okay when they're really not. And when you can really get truly honest with yourself, 100% honest, and not hold on to certain things that are dragging you through the mud over and over, and you can't understand why you feel so angry or so sad or so depressed, or you have all this anxiety, it's because of certain things that we're holding on to. We need to let go of everything, okay? And it's a process, and it says just for today. There might be days when you do it. You might be able to do it 360 days a year, but there might be 5 days out of the year where you struggle with that for whatever reason. But we need to limit the encounters we have with these character defects. We need to be able to limit the encounter we have with sin and draw it to a bare minimum. That's not to say that we're going to be perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect human being. The only person that walked this earth that was perfect, that was 100% man and 100% God, was Jesus Christ. So he is the perfect exemplary of what we should try to strive to become. It says here that all step 6 asks of me is to become willing to name my defects, claim them as my own, and be willing to discard the ones I can just for today. We need that willingness. Ask God to help you to be willing to acknowledge that you have defects, embrace them, and not look at them as faults, but look at them as things in which you can learn from and gain wisdom and gain strength to be able to make it through situations and just have the discernment not to fall back into the same, trap that we've been falling in the whole time. And then we need to do this on a daily basis, just for today. You don't want to think, I have to do this the rest of my life, because then you're going to overwhelm yourself. Keep it in the day. What are you going to do for the day to not do these behaviors that continuously, when we want to get honest, these behaviors that continuously bring us back to our addictions? Okay, there's a big, deep-rooted connection between acting out and having a character defect or a behavior that is negative, resulting in negative consequences that always bring us back to our addiction of choice. And that's something that we can't be in denial about. Like, you can't go to the store and steal and expect not to use drugs in the future. You can't go and do all these things in which you are breaking the law on a daily basis and expect to be okay with oneself and not have guilt and shame and remorse, and you're putting yourself in high-risk situations where you're going to be possibly encountered by law enforcement, or an altercation with loss prevention, or somebody that you did wrong might come after you. Like these things, there's a cause and effect to everything. Okay, so when we do something that is not of God, and that we do something that is of our fleshly desires, and we're serving the devil when we do this stuff, we are ultimately dishonoring God. We are ultimately bringing on bad spirits to encounter us because of the negativity that is being derived from our actions. So we need to change the behaviors. We need to get to the core of why we do certain things. But before we can get to that and do those things, we need to admit that we even have a problem. When we admit that these things are problems and they are consuming us and they are dragging us through the mud once again, like if you're struggling constantly going back to an addiction of choice or different addictions and keep finding yourself bound to something, I would really like you to do some soul searching. Search within yourself. What is it? Is there certain things that are destroying you from the inside out? Are you watching pornography? Are you being promiscuous and sleeping with multiple women? Are you stealing? Are you lying to people? Are you cheating your customers? Are you cheating your employees? Are you evading paying taxes? What are you doing that is dishonoring God, that is bringing you bound to sin? That's what needs to be looked at. And these are tough subjects that people don't want to examine. They don't want to look at themselves in the mirror and say, I have these problems. But we have to. If you really want to truly change, you have to look at yourself in the mirror and be honest with oneself and admit that you are wrong and that you need to fix these behaviors. The only way to truly do this is through the grace and strength of God. Like, we need to ask God to help us, because on our own, we can't do it. We've proven that time and time again. So, and it also says here that this is a process where I need to continuously repeat step 6 so that I become happier with myself and maintain my serenity. You want to know why? Because over time, there will be more bad behaviors that occur. There'll be different ones. There'll be different things that manifest because we are human. We are bound to sin. We have this sinful nature because of what happened in the Garden of Eden. We are no longer naked, but we are afraid, and we need to be in a place where we acknowledge that we are continuously growing to be a better person as long as we do what we need to do, but we also need to be on guard and tackle these behaviors, these new ones that are going to come in as you are changing. So will your behaviors change. So we need to continuously work on ourselves to maintain happiness and have that peace of mind and serenity. Well, all we have to do is try, and when we try, we have to try it by asking God to help us. That's the way. That's the only way I've sought to find true peace and serenity, is through the strength of Christ. So I hope this video helps somebody. If you haven't subscribed yet to the channel, please subscribe. Click the notifications button, ring the bell, so that way you get a notification every time a video is aired. And everybody have a blessed day. God bless.